Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati.
Hare Krishna, Bhagavad-gita. Again, Bhagavad-gita, here it is, and you are very welcome. We are in the second chapter, and we are coming closer to the end of it. So we have heard a lot about the nature of the spirit soul. So now Krishna is speaking. I will read some Sanskrit here. Yadate moha kalim lang buddhirvyati tarishyati tadagantasi nirvedang shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. Purport. There are many good examples in the lives of the great devotees of the Lord, of those who became indifferent to the rituals of the Vedas simply by devotional service to the Lord. When a person factually understands Krishna and his relationship with Krishna, he naturally becomes completely indifferent to the rituals of fruitive activities, even though an experienced Brahmana. Sri Madhavendra Puri, a great devotee and acharya in the line of the devotees, says, Sandhya Vandana Bhadram Astu Bhavato Bhosnana Tubhyang Namo Bodheva Pitarascha Tarpana Vidhona Mangshamaksham Yatra Kvapi Nishadya Yadava Kulotang Sasya Kangshadvisha Smarang Smaram Aghang Haramitadalang Manye Kim Anye Name. O my prayers 3 times a day, all glories to you. O bathing, I offer my obeisances unto you. O demigods, O forefathers, please excuse me for my inability to offer you my respects. Now, wherever I sit, I can remember the great descendant of the Yadu dynasty, Krishna, the enemy of Kamsa, and thereby I can free myself from all sinful bondage. I think this is sufficient for me. The Vedic rites and rituals are imperative for neophytes, comprehending all kinds of prayers 3 times a day, taking a bath early in the morning, offering respects to the forefathers, etc. But when one is fully in Krishna consciousness and is engaged in his transcendental loving service, one becomes indifferent to all these regulative principles. If one can reach the platform of understanding by service to the Supreme Lord Krishna, he has no longer to execute different types of penances and sacrifices as recommended in revealed scriptures. And similarly, if one has not understood that the purpose of the Vedas is to reach Krishna and simply engages in the rituals, etc., then he is uselessly wasting time in such engagements. Persons in Krishna consciousness transcend the limit of Shabda Brahma, or the range of the Vedas and Upanishads. Yes, so we get back to the core here. The Vedas is a vast body of knowledge, and it contains absolutely everything. There is knowledge on every level. There is knowledge on every, there is a path that goes from ignorance to complete spiritual realization. But when you look at the Vedas, it's very difficult to ascertain it as a path, because the different units or areas the path winds through, they look very different. You have Karma Kanda, which is all about rituals and performing the right activities, performing sacrifices and so on. You have Jnana Kanda, where you study knowledge and you perform austerity and you detach from the world. You have jhana, meditation, where you control the senses and focus inward. And you can build up a society where all the different groups or levels, they have different duties to perform and different cultural, behaviors and belonging You can belong to a certain group, you can have certain traditions and so on. All of that is included in the Vedas. You have warfare, you have medicine, you have architecture, you have so many things. So it can be very difficult to ascertain what is the goal. And therefore, Krishna takes the trouble in Bhagavad-gita to bring us back. First he brings Arjuna back, then he brings all the rest of us back. It doesn't really matter what we do, how big achievements we create, what kind of culture we come from, because we're all going to die. And everyone else is going to die also. But what doesn't die is the spirit soul. So the single most important thing in the whole of human life, because as human beings we have the ability to ask these questions. Who am I? What is the meaning of life? And if we don't ask those questions, what is the use of a human life? You know, all the other things we can do, you know, we can eat and sleep and have relationships and so on, families, everything is there, and all the other species as well. As human beings we can say, who am I and what is the meaning of life? And then we level up in our, if we follow the Vedic path, to one of the yoga methods, to one of the khandas, karma or jnana or whatever. And then the risk is that we get bogged down in all the rituals and all the principles. So there is this dual risk with it. Either we get so absorbed in it that we forget that it is supposed to lead us to Krishna, or we become so negligent in it that we give up the spiritual path altogether. So we don't want to, as Prabhupada says here, we don't want to uselessly waste our time in such engagement. We want to actually understand what is what. And Madhavendra Puri, who is actually the spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya, who started this whole approach to spiritual life of singing God's name, being very outgoing, being very generously awarding the process, the mantra, the lifestyle to anybody who wants to. Especially in that line, we're especially careful to focus on that which is important. Because there is a risk, because there is a great risk to live in a society that is not governed by Vedic principles whatsoever. There is a very great risk that we lose the benefit of the human form of life, and we might not even take birth as a human being in the next lifetime because we become too engrossed in a very materialistic, even animalistic lifestyle. But if we have a Vedic structure and we become too focused on the external, that is what is called Kanishta, a materialistic devotee. And you don't have to be Vedic to be Kanishta. We have it in all our religions. We have those people who see the differences. Our priests, they wear special hats. Now our priests, they just wrap themselves in a cloth, in a dhoti. So that's very different. And we speak Latin, but we speak Sanskrit when we go to our rituals. Obviously the differences are very important. No, the core is the most important. The core of bhakti that is there in all our religions, and it's more or less easy to find it, but it's definitely there. We understand that core. We are human beings. We have the ability to reach out and ask, what is the meaning of life? We have the ability to reach out and ask, God, if you are there, please help me. Give me a way to find you. And Krishna gives us a way to find him. The Bhagavad-gita is full of that basic philosophy, and we don't want to be sidetracked. Even if you want to build up, especially our Srila Prabhupada has given us all this literature, he has given us the temple, he has given us service to produce his books, to go out and give this knowledge, to give the meditation on Krishna's name, of that special mantra that is so potent for spiritual realization. He has also given us the task to research and establish Varnashram Dharma, a society, build a society based on those principles. But the minute we forget that this is meant as a basis for our spiritual life, for our service to Krishna, for developing our love to Krishna and for pleasing him, we will get entangled in some principle, and that principle will just keep us. Yes, here's the Prabhupada says. Then he is uselessly wasting time in such engagements. So we want to come together and somehow or another, according to our own ability, we may have a different pace, a different range, but we can all come together and hear about Krishna consciousness and become very determined that I have this human form of life and I will definitely not waste it. I will definitely take to spiritual advancement in Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang